Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu hal adullukum ala tijaratin tunjikum min azabin alim tu'minuna billahi wa rasulihi wa tujahiduna fi sabilillahi bi amwalikum wa anfusikum dzalikum khairul lakum in kuntum ta'lamun. Hi everyone, my name is ANNISA ZAHRA HASIBUAN. I'm from University of Muslim Nusantara Medan, and here I'm gonna tell you about debate. What the meaning of debate? Debate is an organized argument or contest idea in which the participants discuss about the topic or a motion from two opposing sides. Those who will disagree with the motion, it's called by opposition team, and those who will agree with the motion, it's called by government team. Purpose of the debate aims to convey or defend the argument, call the argument, presented based on facts, evidence, and a logical mindset. Benefits of the debate: number 1, to practice our critical thinking. Number 2, broaden the point of view. Number 3, to practice someone's English skill. Number 4, help us become more sensitive and responsive people. Styles of debate. There are many styles of debate. They are consist. Number 1, British parliamentary. In British parliamentary have two opposing sides. They are government team and opposition team. Government team is a team who will agree with the motion, and opposition team is a team who will disagree with the motion. Number 2, American parliamentary. In American parliamentary have two opposing sides. They are pro and contra. Asian parliamentary. In Asian parliamentary have two opposing sides, and they are affirmative and contra team. And in the last, Australian parliamentary. In Australian parliamentary have two opposing sides, and they are affirmative and contra team.
Process for debate.
Phrases for presenting argument. A. First of all, I would like to say that. B. To begin with. C. I would like to mention that. D. The primary argument for. E. The most important thing is. Starting opinion. A. I believe that. B. As far as I'm concerned. C. If you ask my honest opinion. Phrasing agreement. A. I agree with that. B. That's so true. C. That's exactly what I think. D. That's a good point. E. I'm with you on this. Expressing disagreement. A. I don't think so. B. That's ridiculous. C. That's not always true. D. That isn't the point. E. I disagree with this. Countering. A. I agree with you that. On the other hand. B. Yes, but what I'm concerned with is. C. That's true, but. D. That's a good point, but. Interrupting. A. Can I add something here? B. I would like to say something about that. C. Sorry to interrupt, but. D. May I say something? Concluding. A. In brief. B. To summarize. C. Let me summarize my point. D. My final thought is.
Arel, argument, reasoning, evidence, link back.
Application of arel in English debate. An argument is a statement that has reasons and explanation for something. The arguments of the debaters are very important to make a reason through the way they explain the purpose or intent of the motions that have been given during the debate. But most of the novice debaters can only explain their statements using general statements or with simple agreements. In a debate, a simple statement isn't enough to give a firm conviction. The debaters must provide valid facts according to the conditions and the exact relationship between the statements given and the motions they are talking about. Argument. Argument contains a warning whether or not the debate participants agree or disagree who must clarify their position at the beginning. This is useful so that there are no doubts or misunderstandings in determining alignments. Reasoning. Reasoning is the reason why the agreement or disagreement of an argument has been confirmed in the initial position, and the reason presented must also be logical. Evidence. Evidence is the inclusion of evidence in the form of official data, research reports, scientific papers, or others. Link back. Link back is an explanation of the relevance of the argument to the main issues discussed in the debate. This action purports to emphasize that the argument doesn't divide from the topic being debated. By using oral or argument, reasoning, evidence, and link back, we can provide a lot of additional evidence and link back according to the motion given through the development or argument criticism and the use of existing facts to make the debate sound convincing. The advantage of implementing oral or argument, reasoning, evidence, and link back is that a person must be able to show the existing reality and also think critically to win debates. As a debater, we must be able to invite someone to take action. The debater gives a critical response to things and phenomena that exist in society. The ability of the debater in the debating is the ability of the debaters to convince the audience and voters. The purpose of the argument is to convince the opponent of the debate or other listeners. In every argument in debate, there are always a claim statement of certainty about something. B. Data, the supporting part of the claim. C. Evidence, namely the relationship between the original claim and the data supporting the claim. D. Backing is support for evidence. E. Refutation, namely the negation or opposite of the claim that the opponent of the debate expresses.
British parliamentary. This is the structure of British parliamentary in debate.
Few things that you should know in British parliamentary system. Speeches should be 7 minutes in duration. Speakers exceeding this may be penalized but should never be substantially less than this. In general, you should speak for at least 45 past 6 and generally no more than 7:20 till 7:30. Ideally, stay on your feet until you hear the 7th min bell and then finish and be in your seat by 7:15. Your times will be recorded by the timekeeper and given the educators as they leave to make their decision. B. A bell will be rung after the expiration of 1 minute and 6 minutes. The bell will be rung again at 7 minutes and at regular intervals after that. C. Points of information may only be offered after the expiration of 1 minute and may not be given after the expiration of 6 minutes. Points of information may only be given to opposing speakers and should generally be not more than 15 seconds in duration. Acceptance of points of information is at discretion of the competitor holding the floor. In competitive debates, only the competitors may offer points of information. However, in non-competitive debates, points will often be accepted from the audience. Once you have accepted a point of information, you can't just ignore it and carry on. You must deal with it or risk the educator's wrath. Points of order concerning the procedure of the debate must be addressed to the chair. This can be brought at any time and take priority over all other speeches. However, these are only used in exceptional circumstances when the rules and standing orders are being abused and the speakers making the point must be certain that the point of order is appropriate. E. Speakers must observe Parliamentary language. Example, bad language isn't permitted. F. The use of props is not permitted in the debate. G. No amendment to the motion is permitted. You must debate the motion as presented and interpret it as best you can. You cannot define a motion in a place or time specific since. Example, you can set the debate in Dublin 1916 and therefore attempt to limit the scope of the debate and information which the other teams can use. H. The House, which will often be referred to, is basically the chairperson, competitors, audience, etc. I. The speakers are evenly divided on both sides of the motion. Speakers for the motion are the proposition or government. Speakers against are the opposition. J. The opening prop speaker, or sometimes called Prime Minister, has to define or interpret the motion. If this definition is unreasonable or irrelevant, then the opening opposition speaker may challenge the definition. But if the definition is relevant but just doesn't suit the opening opposition speaker attempting to define may not go down well with the educators. If a definition is given and all the other speakers or team completely ignore it, then the defining speaker is effectively out of the debate. K. The last speaker on each side is expected to sum up his or her side's argument and rebut or refute the arguments of the other side. Generally, the speaker will not add a great deal of new information to the debate. L. Rebuttal is vital in any competitive speech. Any argument left unchallenged is followed to stand. The later you come in the debate, the more rebuttal you must use. Rebuttal basically involves ripping the opposing side's argument apart and exposing its weak points. However, don't forget to make your own argument and ideally use that to rebut. It is important to also point out that unlike the style of debating in some countries, you don't have to defeat every one of the opponent points. M. You just have to make it appear as though you strongly believe in it for 7 minutes. In competitive debates, you will have very little choice as to which side of a motion you get. And no matter how bad you think your speech is, try to stay up for the full 7 minutes. If the audience is giving you a hard time, just remember that they probably want you to walk off, so don't give them the pleasure. If the chair doesn't control the audience, ask him or her to and put him on the spot with the educators. Of course, you have to be able to handle a reasonable amount of heckling. Oh, you don't have to be a genius for facts and figures to do well. If you can remember an example or fact which you research to back up your argument, use it. However, if you get stuck and can't remember the exact details of the facts you want to use, don't worry about it. If the underlying details of the report, research, etc. are correct, then the changes are you will not be challenged and the point will be made. If an opposing member corrects you and gives you the correct name of the report, researchers, institute, etc., then they are an idiot for backing up your case.